Hey everybody, welcome back to Tommy's Tesla Tech and Travel. This is a tech edition. You might be wondering what kind of tech edition it is. Well, right now I'm actually filming with all three of my mainstay cameras at one time, all with their different sound kind of setup. I'm going to show you the before pictures and I'm going to show you the after pictures and the different sound and audio equipment that I use with each one, because I find certain ones work better with others. This is really an impromptu kind of off the cuff. I mean, you're seeing my plate back here, you're seeing some laundry I'm folding. It's just what it is. I decided to record this while I'm sitting here and I didn't have a whole lot to do today in between a couple errands. I'm showing you all three cameras I work with on a regular basis. My most popular one is my Canon G7X Mark III, which is what you're looking at right now. And I have that with my Rode Wireless Go 2 microphones. And the one I used to use quite a bit, and I think it's probably the best versatile camera, is the GoPro 10. I had that hooked up with my Rode mic 2, my Rode Video mic 2. So that's just recording audio from a distance instead of one of these guys that you see. But I do have a couple modifications on there. Not only do I have the media mod on there, I also have the wide angle lens on there as well, which I picked up not that long ago and I haven't had a chance to really use out in the wild for the most part. And lastly, the one you've been seeing mostly on my most recent videos, the DJI Pocket 3. I have to say, this is hands down my absolute favorite camera to use. Now, it doesn't do as well as other cameras like the Canon G7X Mark III, which I think has the best overall video quality when it's cooperating, but it overheats so much. That is now my issue with the camera in the long run after so much usage. And it is as versatile as the GoPro. The GoPro is a lot smaller, but with all the media mods I have to put on there to make it work the way I want to, that always takes me back to the DJI Pocket 3, which I think has all the positive qualities of the other two cameras and none of their negatives. Like, so far, no overheating problems. It's small and versatile, although sometimes I do have to hook the extra clips up on there, but that's rare and few and far between, and I haven't had to buy nearly as many mods as I did with the GoPro. So let's take some time and let's talk about them and see which one is the actual best camera, in my opinion, and for what I use. I feel like I have weird medallions on me. I want to start by talking about the GoPro 10. GoPro is what I've used mostly on my channel over time. I started off with the GoPro 8 and now we're on to the 10. What I like about the 10 was I have the screen on front, so I'm not just guessing if I'm in frame or not. And more importantly, I have the mods I can do on there, such as the wide angle lens. Because as much as you tried with the GoPro 8, it just never really lived up to the actual camera video on a regular basis quality you were hoping for. But I loved how small it was, how diverse it was, and I can take it with me on like water rides, things like that. So it really served a really good purpose. Now what the 8 lacked was low light quality, which even the 10 doesn't really have the greatest low light quality, but the nice thing about the 10 is if you look back on some of our older videos with like Buzz Lightyear and things like that at Disneyland, it actually was really well performing. My issues with the long run is I have to modify it so much, it's no longer that small, diverse camera that I can just use for everything. It became a big bulky thing to carry around. Even right now, I have the Video mic 2 built on there to get the audio, and the reality is the audio is not as great as having one of my wireless mics on me. But I love this mic. If you're going to get a shotgun mic, especially under $100, I still think it's the best option. And when you break it down, yes, the price for the GoPro 10 is way more reasonable than a DJI Pocket 3 or even the Canon G7X Mark III. I think I paid at the time like $300 for it, or $270, somewhere in that ballpark. But I had to get the media mod, which is another $100. I bought the wide angle lens, which is normally $100, but I got it on sale for $50, I believe it was. And the video mic is also $100. So now we're talking about $300 on top of the $300 you spent, so we're already at $600 at that point. Is it worth it? Absolutely, I think it is, especially for like mounting it in the car, or if you need to use a camera kind of inconspicuous, like when I'm out and about recording my stuff. If I'm looking at comic books, things like that, I love being able to mount the camera right here in my book bag, and I will focus it down, and I can work hands-free. So for what the GoPro serves, I absolutely love it. I'm never going to talk down about it because it was the main camera for me for the longest time. Its downfall is it's an action camera. It's not necessarily an everyday, especially vlogging camera. And if you have the microphone that I have here on the side, on the top, with the wide angle lens, you're seeing the mic no matter what. When I used to have the dead cat for my old microphone, there was nothing I could do to get it out of the frame. So that's why I moved on to this one and also started using those wireless mics. And I know I said I'm using the cameras right now in their original capacity that I used them in. So like with the GoPro, the caveat is I didn't always use the video mic 2. I often did use my Rode Wireless Go 2 mics with it because they were small, they worked, and I could put two cameras going at once, or two microphones going at once. But more often than not, I do use this, especially in smaller closed quarters like I am right now up here in my loft, because it is picking up sound. I don't have to worry about if I'm bumping the mic or what have you. It's just mounted to the camera. Wide angle lens on there, it's only capable of doing 2.7K, which I'm sure you've noticed compared to the other video you already saw. Not the highest quality. I mean, I can render it in 4K afterwards, but you render 2.7K into 4K, not so great. So again, another caveat is I don't use the wide angle lens that much, as I mentioned earlier. I use the one that it came with. But for the sake of this video, if I spend money on the camera till I improve it, I'm going to use the improvement, which I guess it's improvement in this case. So I do love this camera. I still use it quite a bit, but not nearly as much as I used to. So out of my 3 cameras, sorry GoPro, you are rated number 3. And the next camera we're going to talk about is my G7X Mark III. And ironically, one of my issues with it just happened when I tried to film this video. You see, there's so many different parts I have to attach to the camera to make it the be-all end-all of vlogging cameras that I want it to be, that if one little thing goes wrong, the entire video is shot. In this case, I have my wireless Go Mic 2 receiver plugged into the camera. I'm wearing the transmitter here. I have my newer mod lens for a wide angle on it. And when I went to start recording, I forgot to turn on the receiver. So I was talking and nothing was actually happening. And with the wide angle lens on here, it is absolutely fantastic. That's one of the downfalls of this camera. It doesn't have a lens you can remove or take off. But even without the wide angle lens on here, it is still a phenomenal camera. And I wish it was the camera I use the most at this point. So I think everything about it is great. But my main issue, well, I have 3 main issues. One, as I mentioned earlier, it overheats. I can't use it for more than 5 or 10 minutes in a shot. And then when I go to do something else, it'll start flashing that it's overheating, no matter what I do. Granted, we live in Arizona, but this overheats in my 70-degree home. So that's the biggest downfall for me. And in complete transparency, the GoPro has overheated on me as well, but it took a lot of abuse to get to that point as far as usage goes. My second con is the microphones that are built in are okay, but you really want to put in that's why you get this camera as opposed to the G7X Mark II, is you can put in an external microphone. My issue with that is it's so close, like there's no cold shoe mount on it, so you have to buy something to put like a cold shoe mount on. So I bought a newer mod that goes on the bottom of it, which is great. I can still get to my battery and my SD card without having to take the mod off, which is an issue I have with the GoPro. You have to take the mod off just to get to the stuff internally. But in order for it to fit on there correctly, because of that cold shoe mount, I had to buy another extender to go on there. And let's talk about the camera itself. It retails for about $799, so let's say $800 for all intents and purposes. And I have the wireless Go-To microphones on there, and those are $299 retail. So already at $1,100 to make this camera a little bit better. And the mod that I bought for the lens runs about 80 bucks. So we're already at, let's just round up $1,200 if you include the Manfrotto tripod that I have with it, and the newer mod to actually put on to connect the cold shoe mount. So we're already up to like $1,300 to make this camera be what I want it to be. For that price, I mean, I could have bought just a regular mirrorless camera with the lenses, but those lenses get crazy priced too. So this camera's still kind of worth it in the long run when you think about it from that perspective. However, if I'm going to spend that much money, I want it to not overheat. And the third thing is, I'm more likely to break this one than the GoPro. Because with that newer lens on there, it puts a lot of weight on the actual like turning the lens for the camera itself, the built-in one. And the back has that screen that goes up and down. I mean, just watch some of the vloggers that have used these cameras in the past, how many times they say they had to get a new camera or they burn through them. Quite often. I mean, I take care of my stuff, but we're all likely to drop it. My G7X Mark II got dropped at one point. Luckily, it didn't do really damage. It just scratched the side. But the reality is, for that expensive a camera with all that stuff built into it, you're scared about breaking it, right? So out of my 3 main cameras that I use, my G7X Mark III comes in number 2, which obviously leaves the next camera to be number 1, which is, how gauche is that? I'm watching one of my own videos on the screen. But that takes us to our third camera, which is the DJI Pocket 3. I always mess it up. It's such a long word to say. I should probably send it to Ralph Garman as a tongue twister Tuesday thing. But the reality is, this has been my favorite camera since I've gotten it, because I don't have to do any modifications to the lenses. What it comes with is phenomenal. It's got the gimbal built in, so I don't have to worry about steady cam. Like right now, I'm just holding it with my hand. It doesn't seem to be moving at all. Came with a transmitter, so I didn't have to buy anything extra as far as audio goes. Caveat, I did buy an extra transmitter, so we can have 2 going at once. And there has been some problems there in the past, but I think I haven't figured out now. That was mostly user error, nothing to do with the camera itself. And as you already saw, I love the fact I can just swing the lens around, because that's the issue with the GoPro. Since I have the stationary shotgun mic, it's going to pick up sound wherever it's pointing. So if I'm talking to someone and I need to stop, turn it around, or yeah, it becomes a pain audio wise. So the DJI Pocket 3 is by far my favorite camera that I have. But, sorry, I keep saying caveat, asterisk. I actually love the G7X Mark III because I think the picture quality is really good on it. It's a low light camera just like this one. It has a low light setting. When you have the audio and everything built in, it's just a great camera. The overheating is the biggest issue with me, and I just can't get over that. That's what hurts me the most. But as far as versatility goes, like we talked about with the GoPro, this is such a small camera. Even with the modifications on there, it is still an insanely small camera. The reality is I can put it in my pocket if I so choose. But like we talked about with the Mark III, my fear is because of the gimbal, how it moves around, it is pretty fragile. So there will be no dropping of this camera if I can help it, because it is an expensive camera. I got the Creator combo, which was $649. The catch there is I actually had some old tech that I traded in at Best Buy to get, like, I think it was a couple $100 off. So I ended up paying like $450 for it when it was all said and done. But then I went back and bought an extra transmitter, which was an extra $100. So for all intents and purposes, let's say I spent $550 on it. Half the price that I spent so far with the G7X Mark III. So in the long run, out of those three cameras, and if you're a vlogger looking for what to invest your money in, what I showed you is like the three cameras you really see consistently with most vloggers, especially people who are novice or just getting into the game. I mean, you can go back and watch my videos from then to now. You can see a huge progression in the quality. This is a weird thing to make your decision on, but the reality is, the other thing that I don't like is how much memory it takes to run the G7X Mark III. To give you an idea, for the first part you watched, those were the exact same video, exact same length. The GoPro's was 1.07 gigabytes for the size of the video. Granted, 2.7K, because as we said, it doesn't do 4K with that wide-angle lens. The DJI was 1.43 gigs, but the G7X Mark III was 2.79. So we're talking about nearly twice what the DJI did, and both in 4K. I do think that the saturation that you get with the DJI is a little much, but I still think it's an extremely great quality video. So those are my three. Tell me what you think down below out of those three, or if you have something else you want to throw. There's a lot of people like that Sony camera with the flip lens. I can't remember the model number off the top of my head. I haven't had it because for that price I chose the G7X Mark III. But which camera do you like, and which camera would you recommend? Let me know down below. And before I forget, honorable mention goes to the Osmo 2. This is just a regular gimbal you hook your cell phone up to. I bought this, I used it like twice. The first time to great success. I was like, I will never have to do anything else again. But the audio obviously kind of was not so great because it was coming off of the phone itself. But then the second time I used it out in the wild, I could not get this to cooperate. And the truth is, I just gave up on making the video. That's more, again, user error than the device. It wasn't user friendly to me, whereas all the other cameras were. So honorable mention. Another honorable mention to the Meta Ray-Bans. I absolutely love these for their simplicity. Just if you need to grab that quick picture or quick video, they're fantastic. Granted, I mostly use them for the Bluetooth audio, but the reality is if you need video or a picture, it shares easily with Instagram as it's designed to do, and it's just a nice high quality video, image, and picture. Downside is it doesn't shoot in 16:9, which is ideal for what we do. And the last honorable mention is our phones. There was a time where you had to buy a lot of expensive equipment and carry it around for you for that special moment. Now, with the quality of our phones, with their audio, with their video, everything else, you can literally shoot an entire major length motion picture with your phone if you so choose. Granted, the audio is not going to be the highest quality, but the video quality is absolutely there. But I don't use it as just my primary source, although I definitely have on more than one occasion, as you've seen in my past videos. But those are my three honorable mentions. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate it. If you haven't done so, please like and subscribe. Here's the information right over here. And another positive thing about the DJI that I don't have with the other ones, it has active face tracking. So if I decide to turn it on like I did there, it just follows me. So if I find myself walking around the Disneyland park, I don't got to do a whole lot except initiate that if I want to kind of make sure focus is off of everything else behind me. Pretty fun stuff. I enjoy this. I love tech, hence Tommy's Tesla Tech and Travel. So thanks for bearing with me and watching this little fun video. Let me know what you guys would like to see down below. Anything else? We've got a Disneyland trip coming up soon. I have a big surprise on that one. Unfortunately, you're probably watching this right around the time of my surgery, so hope everything went well and we can still go on that trip. But let me know if there's anything else you'd like to guys see, tech-wise, comics-wise, Tesla-wise. I know I've been off my game with the Tesla stuff lately, but there has been a whole lot to talk about, and time has been in short supply with how busy we've been. But give me some suggestions down below. I'd love to hear them. I'd like to get more interactive with you guys. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. taking the ride again soon. Bye-bye, everybody.